Hey guys, Morgan from Lynchpin here. Today I wanted to go over my greed strategy a little more in depth, maybe clarify a few items for anyone who might be watching my videos. So to put it into perspective, my greed strategy relies on a few separate indicators, but I want to make clear the key components of the strategy, even outside of the indicators, and kind of how I use the indicators. So I do want a disclaimer. I have it in the on-demand function. So this is my real account value. But I do want to point out something that is the first thing I need to mention that I need to emphasize to you. I used to be one of those people who went out every night onto StockTwits or Twitter or Discord or wherever for what's the watch tomorrow? What's the hot stock? What's it going to be? I found that didn't really work for me. And I found something that made a much, much bigger difference for me personally. And that was to focus on just a few stocks. This isn't a secret to a lot of day traders, but people breaking into day trading, I feel like it's kind of important. It's something that, a lot of these gurus out there front loading some low float, and then they'll be like, yeah, it looks like it's going to take off. Look, that's a bunch of garbage to me. I hate that, but it's part of it. Okay. I've definitely made trades in GameStop and AMC and some of the Wall Street Bets stuff. Definitely. I love Wall Street Bets, but for me to establish like the best consistency is to have consistent stocks to watch. I don't love Snap as a company. I don't even have the app, but the stock fits a few key criteria for me. Number one, it's optionable. That's important. Options make you a lot more money in a shorter time period. Okay. So there's a lot bigger move in options. There's a lot more risk in options than, with just shares of the stock. Number two, it's pretty volatile. This day was a perfect example. Back on June 24th. Okay, I traded this day on it and made some good money because of this volatility. Because you had this big move downside, this chop, then shoots up, then drops back down. You can see the mountains and valleys on this. And this is only the 1 minute chart. Now, the other thing about this is Snap's pretty volatile during that first hour and a half of the day. That's important to me because I still work a day job. I still have other things that I do each and every day. So I don't have the most time to trade. I can't sit there and watch every tick for 8 hours. That's why Snap fits that key component to me. Plus, it's affordable in terms of options from my account size and some of those things from the very get-go. And even now, as I've grown my account doing this. The only reason I talk about this is because it's consistent for me. That doesn't mean it's going to be the perfect strategy for you. It doesn't mean you couldn't blend this with other strategies. I just want to outline what I'm doing and explain the basic concept of it. So, first things first. I trade Snap on a daily basis or attempt to. That's one of the most important items that I need to address as well. Don't force trades. If the trade isn't there and you don't feel confident that it's going to do exactly what you think it is, nobody knows what's going to happen. But hear me out. As you learn a certain stock, certain movements, you see how it fluctuates day to day. If you feel confident in your move, go for it. But if you don't, one of the biggest skills that I think people need to develop, just like taking losses, closing positions that are going against them. I don't use hard stops. I use mental stops. But this other piece is don't trade if it doesn't work for you. If it's not doing what you expect it to do, it goes against you, get out. Nobody's forcing you to trade that day. Take your time. Wait until it's in a spot where you can trade it and where you feel confident in your trade. So start to think about that. That's the mental side of the game. Okay, so then the other piece is when I go to trade the stock, I always trade the options that expire that Friday with the exception of when it's on a Friday. So Monday through Thursday, I select the option that expires the Friday of this week. On the Friday trade, I always go to the next Friday's option chain, and I always trade in straddle form. So meaning if the price is sitting at 68.70 and I'm trading this week's options, so I come down here, even though I show the whole option chain, I trade within here. So if I even just did this and made it easier, you can see I just trade just out of the money options. Okay, that's the first thing. Options that expire this week for Monday through Thursday, and then on Fridays I trade the next week's expiration. Okay, just because a lot of times if you do have to stay in a position on Fridays and it's expiring that same day, it will still decrease in value due to the theta. And I don't hold these overnight. My goal isn't to swing trade. I'm literally getting in or out with a loss that same day. Okay, so that's that first piece. Okay. Now, the second piece is I'm watching the RSI. My RSI, I set to a 10 period, not a 14, which is the default. For me, when I've looked over charts, I feel like the 10 period is a little more accurate and easier to read than the 14. Okay, so it's just an average of either 14 minutes or in this case, 10 minutes on the minute chart. If you're talking about days, it's going to do it in days. That's the thing. These indicators work on all different levels. Doesn't matter what your time frame is. So I watch the RSI. More than the RSI, price and volume are the biggest keys. RSI is a complementary indicator, as are my moving average exponentials, the green line and the red line. And I'll show you those. And I'll have a link for not only the volume indicators that I use, but the trend reversal that I use, as well as the RSI details. So the long and short of it, it'll reset here, is the more indicators I have going in my direction, the better. So a lot of times with Snap, I'll see it get oversold like this and get all the way down here. And this gets me start to look at purchasing it. Okay, so sometimes I'll kind of wait and be like, okay, is it going to go lower? Because sometimes it will. But if I see big volume pushing it back up and it starts to rise heavily, I'll often jump in then. The indicators often lag. Okay, that's part of it. But you'll notice that the combination of indicators, you could get in somewhere around here because it usually shows up on the next candle. But once that indicator shows up and you see a cross here with good volume, you'd enter here and then you may not sell until like right here. Not that big of a move, but there's a move there to be caught. Me personally, a lot of times I will take the risk before the indicators have reversed. The indicators just help me realize what's about to potentially happen. Snap does a lot of this bouncing up and down. I don't want a stock that just trades sideways and has a tiny range. That's precisely why I selected Snap for this strategy. There are dozens of other stocks that would fit this strategy that are volatile enough. So do your research. See what would work for you. Okay? Also, the price per contract is going to be lower on lower price stocks. So just keep that in mind. So anyways, what I do is I kind of look for overbought, oversold, and then I kind of watch the price, the volume. And again, because I see Snap on a daily basis, I have a pretty decent idea. Oftentimes I'll swing out to like let's say a 15-minute chart or something like that. Okay, what's about average volume that we see here? It's somewhere in here. Oh, wow, it's getting extra volume. That's a good indicator like, hey, this thing's moving up, okay? Instead of watching tick by tick, you can simplify it that way. Now notice I still get the indicators on a 15-minute chart. I normally only trade based on the 5-minute or the 1 minute, normally just the 1 minute, okay? But as you can see, it will still work. Now, keep in mind these purples are, it's giving some reversal signal, but it's not super definitive as it could be. So green and red are a good sign. You'll notice I have this gray area for after hours and pre-market. I don't trade it normally. I will kind of watch the general trend, especially if there's unique volume or some kind of news or something, I might hop in. But you can't trade options in extended hours anyways, so I would probably be buying shares at that point or shorting, which I don't normally do. So I normally short through options with puts. So anyways, that's kind of the gist of the strategy from that angle. Is you're looking for the biggest thing is find a stock, find a particular stock and watch it. Use the on-demand feature from ThinkorSwim, or go back and look at, what it's done in the past. That's usually a pretty decent indicator of, hey, is it volatile enough? And if so, then you can start to look at potentially trading options. And again, I do trade some other option strategies, long-term investing, dividends and things like that. And I certainly use these same kind of principles. So like on a daily chart, I will often look for reversal signals on the daily, as well as the green to red. So if you look at this, so check this out. With Snap, if you look, green got above here at 24.64. And notice there had not been a crossover really until the 50s. So this can be used on a daily chart for sure. I would use the green and red moving averages potentially for that more than the reversal signals, but you certainly could, because as you can see, that got you even higher. So there's a lot of options, these indicators. They can be used with a lot of different strategies. That's why I personally like them and why I wanted to share them with whoever might be interested. Again, I'm not a professional trader, but I've done really, really well since, I started trading back in 2013. And since then, I've learned a lot. And I figure if I can help you kind of shortcut some of that. But whenever you start adding new things to your strategy, start small. Do small trades. Don't try to lose it all and bet it all until you really know what you're doing and kind of seeing the win and the loss and kind of seeing where you might have messed up. And that's what makes this on-demand feature great. I'll cover another video on this, but that's something where you can go back and look at your trade and replay it, if you will, and walk through it. You can even do orders during this on-demand feature. So it's fantastic. It's a great way to kind of test your strategies or theories. And I use it all the time to demonstrate trades. I'm going to get some live trade video for you guys and kind of talk through it. I wanted to avoid doing that now because, to be honest, when I'm in the zone trading, not talking about it is a lot easier for me. Well, live trading, I'm focused on the trade. I'm doing what I'm doing. And so I'm not very good at talking during that. But I'll try and get some videos for you with some of those examples and do some of those small trades so you can see kind of what I'm seeing, and I'll talk through specifics during a live session. But I just kind of wanted to show you, again, kind of spill the overlay of what the overarching process is, show you exactly how I do it, and then, hopefully there's some value there. Thanks for stopping by, and hope to see you around again real soon.